The Grand Ole Opry stage holds immense prestige in the world of country music, really a cornerstone of the country music scene since its inception in the year of 1925, and being invited to perform on the Grand Ole Opry stage is considered a significant milestone in a country artist's career, arguably signifying recognition and acceptance into the genre, and then of course receiving an invitation to become a member of the Grand Ole Opry. Well, it's a whole nother level of a milestone within a country artist's career, and many strive to receive such invitation. However, throughout the history of the Grand Ole Opry, not every artist has had this goal. As we know, George Strait and Willie Nelson are not members of the Opry, not because they're not deserving, but due to the level of commitment that the Opry expects from its membered artists. Just so you guys get an idea of it, here is what is expected right from the Grand Ole Opry's website. So, who decides? It reads, "The decision to increase the Opry's ranks is, and always has been, made exclusively by the show's management. The people who've been entrusted with the Opry's tradition and future direction take into account all the standards of success in country music. Radio airplay, recorded music sales, touring success, industry recognition when considering an act for membership. The Opry considers career accomplishment as well as the potential for continued success." It moves on to the next segment, talent and longevity play a role. But the Opry doesn't simply pass out invitations to the biggest stars with the most hits. Opry management looks for a musical and a generational balance. Opry membership requires a passion for country music's fans, a connection to the music's history, and it requires commitment, even a willingness to make significant sacrifices to hold up that commitment. Again, I'm going to read that. Even a willingness to make significant sacrifices to uphold that commitment. Often the Opry seeks out those who seek out the Opry, though decisions aren't based on which artists appear most on the show either. The decision to bring a new act into the Opry fold is a two-pronged one, based on a combination of career accomplishment and commitment. But really it comes down to just one word: relationships. The relationships between performers and fans. The relationships Opry members have with each other. Relationships that may last for decades. And perhaps most importantly, the relationship between each artist and the ideal of the Grand Ole Opry. So yeah, quite the commitment and responsibility there. Again, it's not that George Strait and Willie Nelson shouldn't be members. They, of course, this commitment is just a lot. They live out in Texas, and they just appear to not really want to make that commitment, just like many other artists in the genre that we haven't seen become members as of yet. Which this leads us into today's topic, Johnny Cash getting banned by the Opry. Again, those two words, commitment and responsibility. This is arguably the second most controversial banning beside the great Hank Williams Sr., who was also banned from the Opry after receiving his invitation. Sadly, Hank was unable to ever be re-invited to the Opry as a member, which, of course, we all believe that he would have been. He unfortunately passed away at the young age of 29 years old following his ban, and oddly enough, the Opry does not recognize memberships posthumously, which there should be some sort of category for that because, let's face it, these guys paved the way. I think there should be some sort of recognition. These are the guys that made that stage have the prestige that it has. So I don't understand why it's not there. But anyways, moving on. But on to Johnny Cash and why he was banned from the Opry temporarily. In the year of 1965, Johnny Cash was alleged to have been intoxicated while on stage, and during his appearance, Cash smashed out all of the stage lights at the front of the stage. In an interview later in his career, Johnny Cash recalled the night by saying, "I don't know how bad they wanted me in the first place, but the nights I broke all the lights on the stage with the microphone stand, they said they couldn't use me anymore. So I left and used that as an excuse to really get wild and wound up in the hospital with my third time I broke my nose." Now that broken nose came as a result of Johnny wrecking June Carter's car into a utility pole after he left the Opry. But Cash being Cash, the Opry of course invited him to come back and to be a member, and that was in the year of 1968. So again, out of the 6 bands handed out by the Grand Ole Opry, those bands include Billy Currington, Jerry Lee Lewis, Minnie Pearl, and Skeeter Davis. I think Johnny Cash and Hank Sr.'s are arguably the most talked about and relived by fans, so much so that fans even tried to push Hank Sr. as a member posthumously. However, that has yet to come to fruition. They surely don't make them like they used to anymore, and the Outlaws, well, they truly left their mark in more ways than one. As always, thank you all for tuning in here at CountryCast. That will be all for today's video.